Hi, so today we are trying to build one small application where basically it would be a question answering bot, but it will use the LLM. It will be built using the document or a context we provide, and based on the document the question can be asked and it can see whether it able to find the answer or not. And for that we use the Langchain framework. So let's go through the readme. I'll give you the complete walkthrough of each and everything. So basically the first thing is what the requirement for the application. So it will use the Python 3 Langchain framework, openAI GPT 3.5 turbo model, and the vector DB. For the deployment step, you simply clone the repo, update your env with the openAI key, then just run the requirement .txt file for installing all the requirement that required, and then you just start the application. Once you start the application, you simply hit the call request that is given here, and it will give you some response like this where it's a key value pair of the question and the answers. So the basically if I give you the demo that how to hit the API, so here is the API, here is the call request of it, and I can actually hit this one right now. So if you look, I have provided here two files. One is the doc file and second is the question file. The doc file is the some JSON format which has some data about for which we want to ask the question, and question file is simply the question file. So here I have hit the request, and in the backend is actually trying to do few things, and here we got the response. So here like we have the question like whether some questions are there, and in some case it's not actually able to find the answer. In other case it does actually able to find the answers, because based on the data for some question it understood what we're trying to ask, and if it is there it just gives the answers. So basically let's walk through the basic concept that used in this one. So the flow would be first we have to load the document, then we have to use the splitter, then we'll have to store into the vector DB, and then we have to configure the embeddings as well, couple of templates, and then we can actually hit the APIs. So loading process is basically the first process it means. So basically I can have the JSON file or PDF file or some other kind of file. So Langchain does provide the document loaders inside their package, and using that document loaders we can actually use that particular loader based on the input file that we have. And once the loader is there, we may have to use the text splitters to split the bigger data into the smaller chunk. But it is not just that, behind that it is doing so many complex things behind the scene, because it's not just about the breaking the string, but building the context, how to build the context, and how basically it can be used for further processing. So for them as well, the Langchain is providing the recursive character text splitter. After that, once we have the basically characters and splitters, we have to store the indexes of our split, so that when we actually want to process it, we can use the vector DB for that. And for that, Langchain's vector store is also used. Now on the embedding part. So embedding is just interfacing with the text-based embedding models. So in this case, like openAI or some of the models of the Hugging Face is like embedding. After that, we have to configure the system prompt template and the human message prompt template. So system message prompt template, it basically provide that whatever the template we give, how actually internally openAI or whatever LLM model would have to understood data, how to get the context of it, and building of their own understanding of it. And then the human message prompt template is about when they prepare the response, when they process the input that we provide as a question, how to understand as the human, and how to basically how it needs to behave on that particular input and prepare the responses accordingly. So similarly the same flow there into the code structure as well. So here each one is basically each one is into the in one function. So one function for the loading, splitting, storing, and the calling of the open API. and depends on the way it is behave is it has been like it has the one interface and it has the three method of the loading, splitting and storing, and depends on currently like for the PDF we'll have the PDF loader and JSON for that we have the JSON loader. The both implementation would be different, but both has to follow the same process. And as of now the splitting and the storing logic is the same, but they depends on our file type, their data, understanding of those files, their structure. We can have our own separate splitting for it. And so as of now in this case I have not changed the system and human message prompt template, because irrespective of what is the file type, our system need to behave the specific manner, and that's why it is not given the separate implementation. Now if I go to the directory structure, so at the directory structure you can look, we have the packages like views, service, models, data and the common. So views is basically our API file where we'll have the API contract. So it will have this hello world for the testing, and the upload file is our actual API, which will take the two input, where one is the doc file and second is the question file. And then if we go to the service, the service is basically a service file for the this particular thing. And so if you look at the service file, it will have the it will basically have the, it checks whether it's the PDF or JSON, depends on that. It will prepare the object of that particular implementation of it, and once the object is created, it will call the document loader, text splitter and the prepare the vector DB. And once all this done successfully, it will actually now read the question file, and it will iterate over the all the question one by one and call the response. So here the get response is actually calling part of the Langchain, which will internally call the openAPI to get over the response, and we will store the response into the dictionary, and later on that dictionary will return as a response to the API. Now if I go to the model, so here I have just a simple interface, and which is the three abstract method. So JSON file processor also implement the same thing, and the PDF file processor also implement the same thing. So here the text splitter and the prepare vector DB have the same basically definition into both the files, but the document loader is the different. Here is the PDF loader, and here is the JSON loader. Now the data is basically here is I have attached the data for the querying, basically a part of the API, and inside the upload with whatever files get uploaded, it actually saved here, and then it processed further. Now the openAPI is basically a service layer which we need to call, or someone also who has this particular value can call it. So that's why it put into the common. So it basically first does the similarity search with depth. As of now it's 4, and the query that we actually send it here in this one. So that is basically the question. And after that here is our template. So it basically to build the context and how we wanted to process what if does not know. So that is the template we have given here. And here the same thing I have given to the system message template, and this is our human template, that how it has to behave. And that it simply create the chat prompt using the chat prompt template. If I show you, so that is part of the Langchain prompt chat, and after that it will just call the LLM chain using the model that we have basically we have declared here. At the top we have first of all loading the environment, we have declared the embedding, that is the openAPI embeddings, and then the chat, that is using basically creating the variable for the model of the GPT 3.5, and inside here after that we get the chain, we call to the actual question, and we give the response to the answer. So that is the whole flow of the code. And if I go back to the readme, the same is there. So this is basically what overall this application does, and here we hit the API with the questions and we get the answer with the API. So this is what I built. So that's it from my side. Thank you.